Hello, fictional. Welcome to the Fiction Series X. Today we are gonna see what if Issei was Path of the Heavenly Wolf. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Issei, are you awake? A familiar motherly voice flows through my room as I am in the middle of changing clothes. Yeah, Mom, I'm just about done getting dressed. I responded. Breakfast is ready when you get down here. She shouted back. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Issei Haidu, and I'm 17 years old. I'm about to start my first day at school today. I recently arrived in Cowtown, about a week after my mother, Miki, got a new job as a stalker associate at the local branch of a large corporation based in Kyoto. It wasn't always the two of us. A stranger in a dusty black trench coat murdered my father, Guru, right in front of me 1.5 years ago. We never caught the assailant or found him. Since then, I've been having nightmares about that day when that man took the very most important person away from us. Although Mom always displays it for my benefit, she felt as though someone had ripped out her heart and set it on fire on the inside. A few days later, my mom took a job and worked tirelessly to ensure our financial recovery. Her effort led to a promotion and a branch assignment in Cowtown. For the first time in months, she can finally get a chance to take it easy. I'm so proud of her, and I know that my dad would be too. After I got done getting dressed, I went downstairs to see my mother in the kitchen with a hearty plate of breakfast for me on the dining table. Good morning, Mom. I greeted. Good morning, son. In addition, my mom greeted me back with a kiss on the forehead. So I might be coming home late, there is leftover pork roast in the refrigerator. Okay, I said as I was digging into my plate of breakfast. How late will you be, exactly? I'm not sure, but once you return from school, there's a small list of chores you need to complete before the end of the day. Okay, I'll get it taken care of. Do you need a ride to school? I can drop you off on the way to work. My mother suggested this. Nah, I'll be fine walking, don't worry. I politely decline. As several minutes passed, I was walking out the door and following the sidewalk on my way to school. The sun is shining, and the cherry blossoms floating through the air and the flow of the city smell into my nostrils. Despite being a new student, I can't say I'm excited to start school. So I don't know what it will be like at a school that recently went from all girls to co-ed. Smack. I was so lost in my train of thought that I didn't pay attention to the school sign right in front of me. Well, I guess I'm here. As I rubbed my forehead, I commented. Are you okay? A voice came from behind me. Yeah, I wasn't looking and planted my forehead on the sign. I got on my feet and turned to see the voice's source, who helped me pick up my bag from the ground. Thank you very much. Are you a new student? She asked. Yes, I am. I'm Issei Haidu, second year. I greeted. I'm Kaneko Taoju, first year. She greeted me back. She actually looks really cute. She has really nice white dyed hair, complete with an adorable black cat hair clip. She's a bit smaller in height, but I'm not judging, and she also has a sack of sweets on the side of her bag, which suggests that she has a sweet tooth. Nice to meet you, Kaneko, I said. So, since I'm new here, do you know where I report to? So, you'd need to report to the student council. They'll take care of you and assign you to a homeroom class, where you will be going from here on out, so you are going to need to talk to the head councilwoman, named Sona. Kaneko explains. Where's that? I asked. Walk to the school entry door and take a right, at the end of the hall, you'll find the door that says student council. Okay, thanked Kaneko. I thanked her as she smiled and gave me a nod. After I got acquainted with Kaneko, I did what she told me to do and proceeded to find the student council room. I entered the building and came to the hallway, where students occupied every corridor. The sounds of teenage gossip, laughter, and small talk filled the air, just like at any other school. There were barely any other male students here, mostly because it recently became a co-ed school. It's going to be hard trying to make new friends here. Well, I never had that many friends to begin with. When I was little, I had a childhood friend. I don't know where she went off to. Her news of moving was so sudden, and I didn't even say goodbye to her. She could be anywhere in the world right now. I never forgot her, and I hope that she has never forgotten me. Excuse me. Are you a newcomer? I looked to see a woman with black hair and glasses. Yes, I'm Issei Haidu. I greeted her with my right hand and offered a handshake. Welcome to Cow Academy, if you can follow me, we'll get you all set up. The woman shrugged off my handshake offer and got straight to the point. I guess that not every girl is on board with having to share a school with boys. As I was following the person who welcomed me, I was just looking around and seeing a bunch of art, pamphlets, and many other things that the school had put up on their hallway wall. Before we get you all set, I want to get things straight. The woman whom I'm following said a little coldly, the students of Cow Academy take pride in our school spirit, assuming that you heard that this used to be an all-girls school. Yeah, I heard. I acknowledged. Well, good. Just to be clear, there are only a few of you males here, so like any other males that I come across, I expect respect, understanding, and good character here at Cow Academy. Don't make me have to tell you more than once, Haidu. She said it with such firmness. Yes ma'am. I agree. She acts as if I'm some kind of pervert. I hope that they all don't see me as such. When we arrived at the council room, they instructed me to sit and wait until they were ready for me. The room that I was in was a little dark, but it had a relaxing atmosphere and it was actually making me sleepy a little. So far, things are looking pretty neutral. I'm going to try and do my best to fit in. I should find a club to join or do after-school volunteer activities. I haven't figured out what they offer yet. Mr. Haidu, you may step in. The woman came back and told me to go into another room. The other room appears to have a private desk, which means that this is someone's private office. Lady Citri will be with you shortly. The woman closed the door, leaving me in the room all by myself. I made myself comfortable by sitting in the chair across the desk. Sorry about that, I was in a long meeting and I hope that you didn't wait for long. Another woman came into the room and sat at the desk. No worries, I have a lot of patience. I replied. You're Issei Haidu, right? She asked. I'm Sona Citri, I'm the president of the student council here at Cow Academy. She greeted. Nice to meet you. I greeted. Sorry about my assistant, Tsubaki. She really isn't that cold-hearted, she is actually a sweetheart once you get to know her. She explains. It's alright. I don't judge. I said. So you came here from Kyoto a few days ago, so how's things been so far here in Cow? She asked. I mean, it's a start. I answered. We've all been there at a certain point, she commented. So let's get you ready for the day, shall we? Sona got down to business and pulled a file of documents from her desk. So you recently came from Kyoto and you have been doing online classes? Yes, I did. I confirmed. Alright, I have some paperwork that you need to fill out and a couple of signatures. Wouldn't the staff handle stuff like this with all due respect? I respectfully said. The school allows us to handle things like this, it's a certain way for them to trust us when it comes to small productive things such as this. She explained. She went over the documents that I signed and went over a few things about the school, which didn't really take as long as I thought it would. As time passed, I got my school identification card and my assigned homeroom. Now, if you have questions about anything, feel free to stop around, I'll be more than happy to assist you with anything. She said. Okay, thank you very much, President. I thanked. You have a good day and welcome to Kuo Academy. She said that and walked me out of her office. It was already almost the end of school. I thought that the day would go by really slowly, but time flew by without saying goodbye. I'm now in my homeroom class. It wasn't a horrible day, but it wasn't exciting either. I mean, I've been doing online classes for a while, and this is the first time that I have stepped inside of a school since ages. I mean, I was in pre-educated classes before, but that was a long time ago. Man, thank the Lord that it is almost time to go. I said to myself as I sat back at my desk. Burned out already? I looked up to see a blond man with his bag over his shoulder. You could say that, I replied. Just like any other day, right? Kiba. Kibayudo, the man introduces with his hand out as a handshake offer. Issei Haidu. I greeted him and accepted his handshake. So, how long have you been here? He asked. Just today, but I've been in Kuo for about a week, I said. I came from Kyoto. Well, how's it been treating you? Well, I can't make a remark yet. I said. Have you gone through the list of clubs and after-school activities? He suggested. I haven't gotten around it. Hell, I don't know what this place offers, let alone if there is anything that would let a newbie like me join in. Well, take a look. He said this as he pulled out a brochure and handed it to me. We have a variety of activities. I looked at the brochure that Kiba gave and went down the list. Kendo club, literature group, chess club, manga club, soccer club, sewing club, robotics, student councils, and occult research. What's occult research? I asked. It's a club that studies the supernatural, mystics, and other phenomena. Although I think that this club is inactive. Kiba explains. Well, thank you Kiba. I thanked him as I put the brochure in my bag. I'll keep this in mind. Anytime, man, there is nothing wrong with trying to fit in. He stated. As a few minutes passed, the school bell finally rang and the hallways began to fill with departing students. Finally, I better get home so I can start doing my chores. I said to myself as I collected my things and headed to the hallways along with the other students. It's Lady Ria's and Lady Akeno. I heard a student shout and point out these two certain third-year students who were walking through the hallways, as everybody appeared to be idolizing them. One has crimson, sparkling red hair that goes down to her back, and her eyes are as blue as the open ocean. The other one has dark purple lined straight hair that is tied as a ponytail with a red ribbon. They are so cool. Another student commented. Who are they? I asked myself. That is Ria's Gremory and Akeno Himejima. They are both third-year students and the most honorable students in Kuo. Kiba came out of nowhere and answered my question. Ria's, the one with the crimson hair, took a glance at me and suddenly I felt my heart stop for a second. Are you okay, Issei? Kiba asked. Yeah, I just never mind. I said. Well, I better get going. See you later, Issei. Kiba gave me a small wave and departed. Yeah, catch you later, man. I said back. I exited the school building and began to hear gossip from the other students who were looking at me. Is that the new student? One student whispered to another. He's so cute. Another commented. Please, he is probably a pervert. And another comment. I really do like to make quick judgments. I said to myself as I exited the school premises and made my way home. I came to a bridge that I began to familiarize myself with since it was the same bridge that I crossed over on my way to school this morning. I stopped to take a quick breather and enjoy the sunset. It's always beautiful at a time like this. Excuse me, sir. I looked to my left and saw a girl with black hair who was wearing a school uniform that represented another school. May I help you with something, miss? I asked. Are you Issei Haidu? Suddenly, my heart stopped for a second. I wondered how she knew my name. I have never seen her before and I don't know her. I was getting suspicious. Yes, I am. How can I help? I curiously played along. Well, I was wondering if you were single, she said. I would like to go out with you sometimes and maybe be my boyfriend. I didn't know what to say. I have never seen this girl before and she somehow knows my name and asks me to be her boyfriend out of nowhere. Well, I'm flattered and all, but it's just that I don't know you, and I explained before she interrupted. Oh, sorry about that. My name is Yuma Mono. She introduced herself and made a small bow. Well, it's nice to meet you, Yuma, but I'm afraid that I'm going to respectfully decline. It was a nice offer, though, but I got to get going. See you around. I quickly departed past her and continued my way home. After walking for 2 minutes, I made it home and began to do chores that my mom said needed to be done. I first started cleaning the dishes, which wasn't very much since it was just me and my mom living here, so it took me at least 10 minutes to get done. After washing the dishes, I moved on to picking up the living room, which was only a little messy and took me 5 minutes to do. I moved on to do other little chores, which I got done way sooner since there wasn't really that much. After all my chores, I decided to go to the living room and settle on the couch to close my eyes for a bit to flow through my own thoughts. Yuma Mono? I whispered to myself and wondered how she knew my name and why she asked me out all of a sudden. As I went thought surfing in my mind, I began to go deep into my thoughts as they turned into a dream. My mind woke me up at a familiar time at a familiar place in my life. Let's go, Issei. I hear a very familiar male voice that belongs to one of the most memorable and important people of my life. Dad, I said. I was dreaming about my dad and it's been a while since I dreamt about my dad. We can't keep your mother waiting. He said until a man in black suddenly appeared out of nowhere in front of Dad. Knowing where this was going, I quickly ran to my dad as fast as I could and yelled, Dad, no. As it was too late, the man plunged a blade into my dad and my dad looked at me with shocked eyes and said fadedly, Issei. I realized that I was dreaming about the day that my dad was murdered. I knew that day very well. That very moment had been plaguing my mind for a while now. It was hard to let go, since no one could find the man responsible. Man, that's a tough one to relive. I heard a deep voice filling the white room that I was in now. Who said that? I asked the source of the voice. Here I am. About 10 meters from me, a big purple black wolf appears out of the nothingness of this very room. Wow, you look just like him. Look like who? And who are you? I asked. You know, for eons, I've been asked that very question. The giant wolf said, my name is Mgelika and I'm the Heavenly Wolf. The Heavenly Wolf? I asked. What? Have you ever heard of me? The wolf asked with confusion. I would have thought that he would have told you about me. Who? I asked. Aren't you the descendant of Juzo Haidu? Mgelika the wolf asked. Yeah, he was my grandfather. How do you know that? Oh, so you must be his grandson, Issei. Nice to meet you. How do you know me and how do you know my grandfather? He was my host and now you are my new host. New host? Oh, boy, it looks like you have a lot of catching up to do. Catching up on what? I don't understand what is going on here. All is well, child. Everything will come into place soon. It's time to wake up now. His voice boomed and with a snap of a finger, I was back to reality. That was a bizarre dream. I said to myself, what time is it? I looked at my watch and it said that it was 10 p.m. I got up off the couch and went upstairs to see if my mom had come back from work. Her room was opened and there she was lying in bed, holding on to a picture of my dad. She is still not used to sleeping alone, and I don't blame her. She always had him to snuggle up to. I covered her up with her blanket, planted a kiss on her forehead, and let her go back to sleep. Tomorrow is a new day. After an eventful-ish day yesterday with school, the strange girl from the bridge, and my dreams, I still proceeded with the day like usual. Today is Saturday, and there is no school, so I decided that maybe it's time to make the most of it and go into town. "Alright, I'm going to head out, Mom," I shouted. "Where are you going?" my mother asked. "Well, I thought that it would be a great idea if I went into town and did something." "Well, okay, make sure that you have your phone with you and don't do anything stupid. I need to head back to the office, so don't stay out too late." "Alright, Mom, I love you. I'll see you later." I said this as I headed out. "I love you, too, son. Be safe," she said back. I should probably do a little shopping, I could really use some new clothes. I should also try to visit the mall to see what's up. Actually, a map would be really useful now. It's not like Kyoto, I mean, it's a sizable city, but not as sizable as Kyoto, so getting around the city won't be a huge problem. At least the streets are not that crowded, that's for sure. Alright, let's see what we get here. I looked around my surroundings for anything that caught my eye. I actually don't know where to start. This is the first time that I have gone out since I moved here. I never had any reason to, but I sure as hell am not going to keep myself isolated in the house. Well, look who it is. I turned around to see a very well-known acquaintance that I met at school yesterday. "Tibba, hey, how's it going?" I greeted. "Just doing a little shopping." "What are you up to?" Kiba asked. "Well, I thought about going out and about since there is no school and I'm trying to figure out what I can do," I said. "You can tag along with me, I'm meeting up with a friend. Care to join me?" he offered. "Yeah, that sounds like a great idea," I said. "So, what are we going to be doing?" "Remember how I told you that the occult research club is inactive?" he reminded me. "Yeah." I remembered. "Well, we decided to bring it back up and running. There is an old building right along the western side of the school and we thought that we could use that for the club." "Okay, so what are you going to do with it?" "Just the basics, like buying cleaning supplies so we can clean up the place and get a hold of some decorations for the beauty looks." "So who is going to run the club?" I asked. "Ria's Gremory, the girl with the crimson hair from yesterday," he answered. I began to have an image flash of the girl with the crimson hair and once again, my heart stopped for a second. She is leading the club. "Yeah, along with her best friend Akeno. She is the other one from yesterday as well," he explained. As Kiba and I were having conversations, we arrived at the mall and saw another well-known acquaintance from yesterday. "Issei, this is," I interrupted Kiba. "Kaneko." It was Kaneko that we were meeting up with. "What are the odds of that?" "Oh, you guys have met?" "Yeah, she helped me out on my way around to school." "What's up, Issei? What are you doing here?" Kaneko asked. I wanted to go out and about and Kiba thought that it would be a good idea to tag along to help you guys out with the club. I explained. "Well, 3 is always better than 2. So, what are we doing first?" she asked. "The student council gave us a hefty fund to set things up so that it will be enough for the club, so any suggestions?" Kiba asked. "Well, it can't be a research club without any books, so we can start there," I suggested. "Very ideal, and what else?" Kiba asked for more suggestions. "We can buy some lamps, plants, and some chandeliers to make the atmosphere a little bit settling," Kaneko suggested. "We can also get it furnished with sofas and a coffee table, and since Riaz will be running it, she sure could use a desk for paperwork." I made an addition to the list of suggestions. "That is a good idea. Although it might take a while to arrange delivery, we might need to talk to someone who handles local shipping. Or we can find a furniture store nearby the school so that local shipment would not be that bad or pricey," I suggest. "It's a good idea," Kaneko comments. A couple of minutes later, we made ourselves a list of things to get for the occult research club to get up and running. We walked all over the mall to get the stuff that we had on our list to cross off. Some of the items took a while to find because we had been going back and forth from one place to another. I may be helping them with their club and whatnot, but I was actually having fun hanging out with these guys, even if it was just a club thing. It's been a while since I actually hung out with anyone. Like I said, I never had friends growing up. I only have that one childhood friend, but like I said before, she could be anywhere in the world. We were at the mall for almost 5 hours, and we kept getting sidetracked a lot because there were a lot of places that we kept window shopping. Well, mostly window shopping. I finally got some clothes that I can wear casually. Kaneko was looking at a bunch of sweets and some cat-related things. She must have a cat at home that she adores. What's your cat's name? I asked. What? Kaneko looks at me with confusion. You've been buying some cat things, so I would have assumed that you have a cat, right? I assumed. Oh, yes, her name is Shiro. Kaneko answered. I like cats. It would be nice to have a furry companion so that the house wouldn't feel too lonely while my mother is working late. Have you ever tried getting one? She suggested. I haven't gone around it. I don't know my mom's input on having a little feline running around the house. I explained. Well, they are mostly quieter than their canine counterparts. Kaneko said. Well, hey, don't get me wrong. I mean, dogs are really nice to have around as well. I commented. I'm mostly a cat person. She stated. Well, that was a lot to do. Kiba commented after the day we spent going around the mall to get the things that we needed. We kept on getting sidetracked, man. I elbowed his arm a little. What can you say? This mall is filled with the buyer's temptation. Kiba stated. Ain't that the truth? I agreed. Are you guys hungry? The mall is about to close and there is a cafe place that is a couple of clicks from here. Kaneko suggested. I could really go for a bite. I agreed. Yeah, I could eat as well. Kiba agrees as well. We exited the mall and began to walk to the cafe that Kaneko suggested. The sun was setting, but it's still not that late, which means that I still have a decent amount of time before I head home. Actually, I hope the day goes slowly. I'm having so much fun with Kiba and Kaneko today. I spend the afternoon and early evening at the mall going shopping and getting sidetracked with my new friends. I was really having a lot of fun. And now we are going out to eat, which is fine because it would save me from doing more dishes and I don't have to cook. A couple of hours passed and we got filled up with dinner and Kaneko ate a lot of food. I mean, she ordered 3 appetizers along with her main meal and a couple of little cakes. She has one hell of a metabolism because once we exited the cafe, she was eating a bag of chips. Well, I better get going, guys. I said. Alright, thanks for helping us out today and spending time with us. Kiba thanked. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We should do this again sometimes. Kaneko suggested. I'll take you up for that offer. See you guys later. I said as I waved goodbye to my departing friends. I begin to walk back home and all I can think about is how this whole day went. I really had a lot of fun today and I can't stop thinking about it. I had fun today, Dad. I said as I was looking up at the stars in the night sky, I wish that you were still here so I can tell you all about it. Then you can tell him when you join him. I heard a very familiar voice that was right in front of me. What the hell? I looked to see that the voice came from no other than Yuma. So, you decided to hang out with those new friends of yours rather than accept my offer on the bridge. She taunts as she suddenly floats in the air and begins to change her appearance to some kind of weird black BDSM themed attire with black wings coming out of her back. How so heart-crushing. What the funk? I cursed as fear started to grow in me. I guess I procrastinated long enough. She said this as she spawned a light yellow glowing spear rod from her right hand. Time to die. Run, Issei. I heard a very familiar deep voice boom in my mind. Mgelika. I guessed at the time of this critical moment. Damn it, I said move your ass. Go. He commanded. Without hesitation, I started to dash as if tomorrow wasn't going to exist. I don't know where, but all I know is that going home was not an option. This crazy black-winged chick was chasing me as she rained down her rods at me as I dodged every one of them. What the funk is going on? I thought, I literally have no idea what to do. It's not every day that some winged maniac wants to chase you all over the block to kill you. There is no time to explain, just keep running, you fool. Mgelika ordered. I don't know where to go. I just need to lose the psycho, but there is nowhere to hide or run to. I'm going to be running around for a while, but eventually I will get tired out and she will catch on to me. I'm so funked. Nowhere to hide, boy. The winged Yuma taunted. Funk off. I cursed. Now, that's not how to treat a lady. She jokes. I went down to a large connected slum-like alley and started to turn to every corner in hopes of losing her. As I was turning right and left in a randomly selected fast-paced pattern, I stumbled upon a small old abandoned complex and jumped inside through an opened window. Funk funk funk. I whispered as I was catching my breath. Come out, wherever you are. I can smell the blood flow from underneath your human skin. She said it with such bloodlust. I kept silent by putting my hands on my mouth to prevent any sounds as I was still struggling to catch my breath. If you come out, then I'll let you pick your death with 3 options of my choosing. She laughs with such evil. Her voice sounds a little faded, which means that there is a decent amount of distance between me and her. What is she? I asked myself. She is what you call a fallen angel. Mgelika answered out of the blue. A fallen angel? How is that possible? Wait, Mgelika, is that you? A lot of questions run through my head. Nice to see you too, Guru's boy. Mgelika greeted. I thought that you were only in my dreams. Is this real? I silently freaked out. Easy, son. Just breathe. He tries to comfort me. It's easy for you to say. I argued. Like I said, I thought Juzo or Guru would have explained this to you. He countered. Explained what? Are you going to tell me that monsters exist as well? I freaked. I told you that I would get the chance to explain to you. Yeah, right, like when I'm dead. In case you forgot, we are being hunted by a fallen angel. That's also the confusing part. No shit. All of this is confusing as funk. No, I mean, what is a fallen angel doing here in this territory? Why would a fallen angel be here attacking during the temporarily ceasefire armistice? What are you talking about? What do you mean by territory? And what ceasefire armistice? There is a lot of explaining to do, my boy. All of this was giving me a headache. A voice in my head, a fallen angel hunting me down like some kind of big game hunt, territories, and ceasefire armistice. This was too much for the human brain. Oh, I'm so grounded when I get home. I commented. Is that really what you are worrying about right now as a fallen angel is out there playing cat and mouse? Mgelika argues. Well, excuse me for trying to not address the elephant in the room for a little bit. Oh, my mom is going to kill me. Then let me put you out of your misery. Yuma appeared and cornered me, leaving me nowhere to run. Shit. I cursed. I had fun playing this game, but just like any other game, it will always end. Yuma spawns a spear. I'm sorry, but the fact is, you are far too great a risk to us. I will have no choice but to dispose of you. If you're looking for someone to blame, why not blame him? He gave you the sacred gear. Realizing that there was no way out of this, I closed my eyes and started to slowly accept my fate. She has wings and will catch up to me, but I'm tired after all the running and cornered with no exit strategy. This is it, and it looks like I'll be seeing my father real soon. Leave him alone, Rainer. I opened my eyes to see Kiba and Kaneko right in front of me in a fighting stance. Kiba, Kaneko. What are you doing here? She's fucking unhinged. I declared. My, look what the cat brought in. Yuma, or now Rainer commented. I'm sorry, but you aren't allowed here, so you better pack it up and get out of here. Kiba demanded. This doesn't concern you, devils, so I suggest you stay out of my way. Rainer threatened. Unfortunately, you are on our territory and have to abide by the rules of the armistice. Kaneko stated. So, like I said, you must leave. Kiba ordered. Screw the armistice. Azazel was so mindless to agree to such a disgrace. Rainer yells as she pulls out a spear. Kiba then spawns a sword out of nowhere and Kaneko puts on some fighting gloves. What the funk? I was so confused and shocked to see what was going on. Then a fight between them begins. Rainer was throwing spears at Kiba and Kaneko as they were dodging and deflecting. Kiba was swinging and slashing at the incoming spears with his sword as they were breaking into particles. Kaneko was swishing and dodging them with such incredible reflexes. I'm going to show you all what happens when fools try to get in my way. Rainer shouts as she continues to throw spears. Issei, get away from here now. Kiba ordered. As I was about to flee, I looked back at Kiba and saw him get hit in the shoulder with a spear, which caused him to drop his sword. Kiba. Kaneko ran to the wounded Kiba's aid, she put pressure on his wound, and Rainer was standing in front of them with another spear in her hand. You should have stayed out of my way, devils. Rainer warned. As I was watching this scenario go down, it started to remind me of a certain moment in my life. Glimpse of that day where I witnessed my father's death in front of me by an unknown assailant, and I was just standing there in shock as my father's helpless body died away. Now, I'm watching the same thing happen all over again in a different scenario. I find myself clenching my left fist, and suddenly the fear of death fades away, and anger fills that spot. Without hesitation and this new determination, I begin to dash at Rainer without a care of what's going to happen to me, and all of a sudden I feel it tingle in my left fist as some sort of black and purple device appears on my left fist. I wasn't going to ponder it because, with such force, my left fist with the unknown device on it collided with Rainer's left cheek and caused her to fly back and hit a brick wall. I looked back at Kiba and Kaneko, who were as shocked as I was, and then I looked back at Rainer, who was getting up from my attack. I don't know what is going on, but you leave my funking friends alone, you crazy bitch. I warned as I was putting up my newly found weapon on my left hand. You will pay for this. This isn't over. Rainer declared as she flew away. As I watched Rainer fly away, I turned back to see the status of my friends, who were now looking at me with their weapons ready. Who are you? Kiba demanded as he pointed his sword at me. Whoa, Kiba, it's me, Issei. I said it with my hands up. I find that hard to believe. He counters. What are you? A stray? Kaneko asked. I don't know what you are talking about, seriously. I answered. What's that on your fist? Kiba made another demand. I don't know. Seriously, I don't know what is going on here. I don't know how I got this or why I am being hunted. I am so confused. I freaked out again. You seriously have no idea? Kiba puts away his sword. No, I don't know what all of this is all about or how I am involved. I explained. Kiba and Kaneko looked at each other and then looked at me. I don't sense anything about him. Kaneko said to Kiba. He possesses a sacred tool on his left hand, Kaneko. Kiba said. Well, he's not a devil, nor is he a stray. He's just a human. Kaneko added. A human is in possession of sacred gear and no one has noticed this? Well, he did say that he just got here about a week ago. But we would have sensed something. We all hung out all day today and we didn't sense anything from him. Maybe he's a different case. We'll have to be cautious. Kaneko said and Kiba nodded. Excuse me, so what's going on? I asked. Issei, why don't you come by the occult research club tomorrow and we can get this figured out? Kaneko suggested. Look, I don't know what is going on, but I've been having a very eventful day, but I just want to let you guys know that I don't mean any harm and I'll come by tomorrow in peace if you agree that no harm will come to me. I said. We will uphold our end. Just come by in the afternoon so that we will all be present. Kiba said. We'll let everyone know. I have no idea what they mean by everyone. Rainer called them devils and Rainer is a fallen angel. I don't know what I got myself into, but somehow this involves me and whatever the hell I have within my left hand. It went from being a peaceful day of hanging out with friends to being a game of cat and mouse to being a full-on fight. Yeah, this is too much for the human brain. So after the events of last night, I find it difficult to get some rest. I would have died last night if it wasn't for Kiba and Kaneko. I have to meet up with them at the club today and I'm not so excited about it. If mom found out about any of this, she would be in an early grave. What bothered me was that, right about when Rainer was about to kill me, she said something about blaming him because he was the one that gave me the sacred gear. Who is him? And what did he give me? Thankfully, when I got home last night, my mom was asleep. I kind of dodged a bullet on that and now I have to try and dodge another one. Mgelika once said something about my grandpa Juzo and my father, hoping that they would have explained this to me. Did they both know something about this? What was their involvement in this? Does my mother know something about this as well? All I do know is that it is a stressful time to be a Haidu right now. Man, if I could be anyone right now, I would just be an average Joe. I commented. I looked at the time and saw it was 11 a.m. I got to be over there in a couple hours. I am having some major anxiety right now. I can't get my crap together for my own sake. Okay. This is real. This is real. I have no choice but to accept that after everything that happened, I've come to terms with it. I really don't know what else to do right now. I haven't been this anxious and afraid in my entire life. What have I gotten myself into? Now I'm really scared of going outside, knowing that something can be just around the corner to get me. Mom was mandated again, and maybe it was for the best. If she ever found out about last night, I could only imagine. Okay, let's just close our eyes for a bit. I said as I laid back in bed and slowly closed my eyes. I got to relax even in a time like this. I have to get it together, or else I'm going to start freaking the funk out. I really couldn't go back to sleep with so many thoughts flowing through my brain. It just put a lot of pressure on me, so I got up and started pacing around. I mean, who wouldn't when you just found out that devils and fallen angels are real? This would be a perfectly natural reaction to this situation. Don't expect me to play it cool and smoothly. My anxiety was through the roof and pacing around my room wasn't helping, so I went downstairs to the living room and went back to pacing again through the living room and the kitchen. My heart was racing and my eyes were twitching and I couldn't stop panicking. I've been like this all night and the lack of sleep is making it worse. My mind is spiraling out of control and my body begins to ache a lot. This was too much for me and I don't know what the hell to do about it. After being in this current state for several minutes, my body begins to shut down, with my mind going blank and my vision going dark. Before my consciousness got pulled to the back of my mind, I felt my body hit the floor. In seconds, my anxiety and fear were purged out of me and I woke up in a purple-colored room that looked infinite. It felt lucid, which only means one thing. Have you calmed down, son? Mgelika appears in a fiery entrance of purple, blue, and black flames. Mgelika, what happened? I asked. You had a panic attack and passed out, so I brought you here. He explained. Oh. That was all I could say at this point. You okay, lad? Yeah, I'll be fine. Alright, let's get down to business. What do you want to know? Start with the basics. As you know, angels, fallen angels, and devils exist, and they have been around for eons. If you have read the Bible. I figured, what did they mean by the armistices? In the war in heaven with Lucifer's rebellion, 1/3 of heaven's population was cast out and fell to earth. They didn't have anywhere to go while Lucifer was still hell-bent on taking over heaven. A fallen angel, Azazel, called Lucifer mad and departed from the group along with those that stood with Azazel. And those that stood with Lucifer followed him to the deepest depths of the world. As time went by, they indulged in their demonized state as their appearance changed, purging all their fallen angel traits and becoming more demonic. Pointy red tails and red horns with bat-like wings. You can say that. The three-way war. The War of Revelations lasted for eons, and both sides were suffering massive casualties to the point where only small conflicts were being fought here and there. It was tiring, and the majority of personnel on both sides just got up and left the battlefields. They were abandoning their post. Can you blame them? I guess not. Therefore, the Archangel Michael of the angels, General Azazel of the fallen angels, and the Devil King Lucifer signed a ceasefire armistice for the sake of survival. So there was no winner, and both sides just had enough. Yes. You said territory last night. What do you mean by that? How is under the control of devils governed by a high-class devil? Rainer said something about Azazel being disgraced. It sounds like there is some dispute among the Grigori ranks. After the war, Azazel became a peacekeeper and tried to avoid conflicts for the sake of the fallen angels. But some didn't want Azazel to sign the armistice. The warmonger, Grigori Kakabiel. After Mgelika said that name, somehow my mind started to ponder it. Kakabiel, I think I've heard that name before. I said to myself that the name somehow rang a bell. Alright, Issei, I'm going to let you go. What? Those devils that you were supposed to meet up with came to your place and found you passed out. They took you to their club. Should I be worried? No, they mean no harm. I don't sense any hostility. But I still have more questions. Don't worry, Issei, we'll have more time soon. Mgelika said as he sent me back to the real world. After Mgelika sent me back to reality, I woke up and found myself lying on a couch in a red room with a bunch of books, candles, and plants. Riaz, he's awake. I heard a very familiar voice. I got up and put my hand on my head as I felt some tension in it. I looked around and saw Kiba, Kaneko, and the third-year girls from the hallway the other day. Issei, right. How are you feeling? The crimson-haired lady came up to me and placed her hand on my forehead. Alright, I guessed. How did I get here? I asked. You didn't show up at our scheduled meeting and I had Kiba and Kaneko come get you. She explained. We found you lying on the ground with no response, so we brought you here as fast as we could. Kiba explained. Thanks Kiba. I was thankful. My name is Riaz Gremory, heiress of the House of Gremory. Now, before we get down to business, do you need anything for your conditions? Riaz offered my hospitality. The glass of water would be great. I accepted her offer. We had a conversation for about an hour. She explained to me who she is and what she does for work, and she introduced me to her peers. Kaneko, Kiba, and her best friend, Akeno, are part of her group. The Occult Research Club is actually a cover-up as the base of her operations, as she is the one running the territory of the city. You know, for a group of devils, they don't look or act like the biblical evildoers that they were described to be in the Bible. I guess the war did change them after all. She also explained that what I have in my left hand is what they call sacred gear. Due to the low populations of their kind, they use something called evil pieces to recreate and maintain their numbers. They are based on chess pieces and look like she is the king, Akeno is the queen, Kiba is a knight, and Kaneko is a rook. I haven't seen this sacred gear in a long time, Riaz said as she was inspecting my sacred gear. Only in storybooks. What do you mean? I asked. It's still in a premature state, but this must be the howling gauntlet of the Heavenly Wolf. You're kidding. Kiba comes up and looks at my gauntlet. I mean, it's just like any other sacred gear, right? I'm sure it's not that special. I commented. Oh no, Issei, this is actually one kind of sacred gear. What do you mean? Sacred gears, or God's artifacts, are tools with special powerful abilities that are bestowed upon humans. God created the sacred gears as part of his system to enact miracles on earth. And certain individuals with sacred gears have grown to become very powerful and influential, and a large number of the people who have had their names etched into history were most likely sacred gear possessors. Akeno added. There were also sacred gears that are so powerful that they can even defeat God. Those are called Longinus artifacts like the howling gauntlet of yours. Kiba stated. No way, I said. But your artifact is actually very rare. Riaz said. How so? I asked. The Howling Gauntlet is not only a top-tier Longinus tool, but it is also the only sacred gear that is passed on genetically. Akeno said. Genetically? Which means that this artifact has been in your family bloodline for generations, but it skips every other generation. so only the grandchild would inherit it. What's your family's surname again? Riaz asked. Haidu. I answered. So you must be a descendant of Juzo Haidu. Riaz explained. Yeah, he is my late grandpa. How do you know that? I never met the man, but I've heard stories of his success. He has quite a reputation in the world of the supernatural. I'm surprised that you didn't know that. Kaneko commented. I never knew my grandpa. He died when I was less than a year old. That explains how Mgelika knows my grandfather, because he was his host, and I guess that is why he knows my father, too. I wonder if mom knows about this, too. It's probably the reason why Rainer tried to kill you yesterday. Whoever sent her to kill you must have deemed you very dangerous. Kaneko said. What? I raised an eyebrow. Rainer is not some high-ranking fallen angel, so she must be under the command of one of the higher-ups. Ring. Ring. I felt my cellular device ringing and vibrating in my left pocket, so I pulled it out to see who was trying to contact me. Sorry, I got to take this. I said it politely. I looked at the screen, and it showed mom, so I pressed the green button and swiped to answer. Hello. Issei, are you at home right now? Mom's voice comes out of the phone. No, but I'll be home in about a few minutes. Okay, when I get home, there is something that I need help getting out of the car. Okay, I'll be waiting. I hung up the phone call and faced the rest of the gang, saying, I got to get home to help my mom out with something, so I guess I'll see you all later. I got up from the sofa and exited the club to get home before mom came back. What are your orders? Kiba asked. We need to keep an eye on him. Rainer will try to find him and finish her mission. If you see anything, report it back to me. Riaz commanded. I decided to walk back home by using crowded people and open spaces as an advantage to avoid Rainer or anyone else who is out to kill me. I'm obviously sure that they wouldn't attack me in a crowd or in open spaces. I've gotten myself to calm down a bit since this morning. Having to think about all those thoughts just took a toll on my mentality. So, I'm living in the devil's territory and Riaz Gremory is the overseer. I guess that I feel a little bit safe knowing that for any fallen angel in the territory, she'll send in Kiba and Kaneko to handle the situation. They said that Rainer might have been sent to kill me, and if that is so, then who would want me dead? Am I really that dangerous to have around? Riaz also said that my sacred gear is in a premature state, so how can I get it upgraded? I want to be able to defend myself if the issue occurs. Man, can a guy catch a break here? I ask myself. There are so many questions that linger in my mind. Cut me some slack, I'm only human. That happens to possess the very powerful sacred gear that can take down much of anything. Yeah, now that I think about it, I'm starting to think that I'm just a danger to myself. Wow, it really stinks to be a Haidu during these times. So, my grandpa, Juzo, was some kind of big shot when he had the Howling Gauntlet. I wonder if he kept a journal or something similar somewhere. We still have dad's stuff up in the attic somewhere, so maybe there is something that I can find to get this sorted out. Maybe I can ask Mgelika if the old man had something of the sort. Dad never mentioned to me that grandpa was a Howling Gauntlet wielder. He must have kept it a guarded secret from me. What if mom knew as well? Was this also a burden that she carries as well? Does being a Haidu really mean more than just being a Haidu? What did my grandpa do back in his day? There are so many questions and so few answers. Bump. Why is it that whenever I walk on these streets, something has to give me a smack in the face? I asked myself as I got up to see what I hit. I looked to see a blonde lady in a nun uniform, holding a Bible. I'm sorry, miss. Are you alright? Yes, my apologies. I wasn't paying attention. The nun said this as I offered my hand to get her back on her feet, which she gladly accepted. Just one of those days, I guess. I commented. Thank you for lending a hand. She thanked me. Hey, no worries. Always happy to help. I said. So, are you a tourist? You don't look like you are from around here. Oh no, I was assigned to another church here in this town. Where did you come from? I used to be from the Vatican City in Italy until I got assigned all around from church to church. What about you? I've only been here for almost 2 weeks now. Just almost getting used to the city. Then I heard a cry from the park that is right across from me and saw a boy who looked like he fell and hurt himself on the playground set. That little boy is hurt. The nun dashed to comfort the little boy and I followed. Hey, little buddy, did you hurt yourself? I asked the boy on the ground with a scrapped knee. Yes. It hurts a lot. He cried. I know the feeling. I've been there as well when I was your age. I got something in my book bag that might help. I said as I was digging in my bag. No problem, I got it. Then the nun got to the boy's level and placed both of her hands on his wounded knee. I looked closely at what she was doing. Her hands started to glow a light green color from the rings that I saw she was wearing on both of her hands. I whispered to myself, another sacred gear wielder. All done, no more OE. She said this as she helped the boy up on his feet. Thank you so much, lady. The boy thanked her and went off to continue playing on the playground. Oh, sorry, my name is Asia Argento. She introduced herself to me. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Issei Haidu. I introduced myself as well. Well, it was nice meeting you, but I'm in a hurry. She said. Do you want me to walk with you wherever you are going? I offered. It's a nice offer, but I'm super late. Asia politely declined. Well, I guess I'll be seeing you around, then. I said. Okay, nice meeting you. Asia departed as she was waving at me as I was waving back at her. Well, at least one good thing occurred today. It looks like I have a new friend and she is a sweet little girl. I hope that I get to see her again soon. I better get a move on before mom gets back home. I still have to help her out. Rainer is still probably on the lookout for me. So, I can't stay out for too long. What was that artifact that she was wearing? It looks like it was able to perform healing abilities. Riaz stated that these artifacts were created to perform miracles. Maybe Riaz will know when I see her again. Hopefully, tomorrow is a good day for me. Yesterday was somewhat decent. I couldn't stop thinking about Asia Argento's sacred gear. She has the ability to heal wounds, like how she healed that little boy Scrapney at the playground yesterday. I wonder how many sacred gear wielders there are. Did my grandpa know anyone that he encountered? Ugh, perverts. I heard a girl yell behind me. Do you two have any shame? Come on, girl, there is nothing wrong with having a little dip into your primal desires. A bald-headed guy said. Yeah, we are only just human beings. Said the guy with the glasses behind him. Apparently, those two are Motohama and Mitsuda. They are notoriously known to be a couple of perverts among the students at the academy, and they have openly admitted it. They branded them the perverted duos of Kao Academy. They have a thing for peeping at the kendo girls when they are changing in the locker rooms. A group of irate people always catch them and pursue them with their wooden kendo swords. Are you a pervert? A girl with pink hair approaches my desk with a determined death stare. No, not at all. I answered. I haven't seen you before. What's your name? She asked. Issei. Issei Haidu. I answered. It's nice to meet you, Issei. I'm Caddis. I hope that there won't be any problems with you either. She stated. No, ma'am, there won't be. I promise. I said it directly. Very chivalrous, are we? Well, then we'll be getting along quite well. She said as she departed back to her friend. Well, that was something. What happens to decency nowadays? Hey partner, I haven't heard from you in a while. What's been happening? Mgelika's voice flows in my head. Aren't you afraid that people might hear you? I asked. You're the only one that can hear me. I'm present in your mind, he explained. Does that sound better? Well, I guess that it won't be too lonely. I commented. Come on, now, it's not that bad. I got your back no matter what. Mgelika said. Hey, Mgelika, if my grandpa passed you down to me, why didn't you introduce yourself to me when you arrived? Well, because your body wasn't that mature at that time. The same goes for your gauntlet. What do you mean? Your sacred gear not only relies on your mental strengths, but it also relies on your physical strengths as well. The reason you were able to awaken me is because your physical and mental strength were enough to partially awaken the sacred gear in you and give me the ability to make myself present to you. I'm sealed into the gauntlet, and now that your mental and physical strength have improved, you are able to use your gauntlet at your own disposal. Even though it's in a premature state. So kind of like a level up? I assumed. Yes, but there are steps to it. He explained. So in order to get my howling gauntlet to full capacity, I need to train mentally and physically. Yes, also, your sacred gear adapts and evolves based on your thoughts, needs, and feelings, which will allow you to gain abilities and/or qualities as time passes, as you improve on mental and physical strengths. Well, that seems easy. Is this spot taken? I looked up to see Kiba taking a spot next to my desk. Hey Kiba. I said, I thought that you were with Riaz. Well, with fallen angel activities rising lately and Rainer trying to kill you, we were ordered to keep an eye on you. Kiba explained. We? What's up? I looked in the other direction to see Kaneko as she pulled out a bag of snacks to eat. So you guys are my bodyguards. For the meantime, until we feel like you are not a target, remember that someone sent Rainer here to kill you. I almost forgot, I said. Are you guys going to be following me everywhere? Do our presence bother you? Kiba asked sarcastically. No, it's just that there are certain times when I like to be in private. I explained, even though he was being sarcastic. Pervert. Kaneko commented. It's not like that. I exclaimed. Relax, Issei, we're not that kind of creepy. Kiba said. When school is over, I typically take the long way home to avoid Rainer catching me if I am by myself. Now that Kaneko and Kiba are tagging along under Ria's command, I guess that I feel safe taking the shorter way home. Although they didn't mention actually going home with me at my place. Are you guys seriously going to my house? I don't know if my mother would be happy to let you guys stay with me for this long. I said. Don't worry, Issei, I'll handle the talking. Kiba said. I really don't want to know what he means by that. After walking for 4 minutes, I reached my house, where I saw my mom's car in the driveway. I don't know how to explain this to her. Mom? I'm home. I brought some guests. I shouted as I entered the house. Mom came downstairs and saw me and my so-called bodyguards. Welcome home, Issei. So, who are your friends? Mom, this is Kiba Yudo and Kaneko Taoju from school. I introduced my mom to my devil friends. Hello Mrs. Haidu. It's a pleasure to meet you. Kiba greeted my mom with a bow. Howdy. Kaneko as well, and I rolled my eyes. It's very nice to meet you, and it's a wonderful thing that you made some friends. She said, so how long are you going to be with us? We'll be here as long as we are in the middle of a school project that will take us quite some time. Don't worry, we will do our parts to help you and your wonderful son to the best of our ability. Kiba said it with such charisma. There is no funking way that what he says will ever funking work. Not in a million years. I said to myself as I put my hand on my forehead with my eyes closed. That's wonderful. It's nice to see that you have such friends with great endowment. I looked at my mom with a shocking expression, as if someone had put a spell on her. What the funk? I exclaimed and looked at Kiba. Issei, watch your language. We have guests in this house. Now, I'm going to get dinner ready and let you know when it's time to eat. She happily said so and went to the kitchen to cook dinner. Seriously? See, nothing to worry about. Kiba commented. I don't know what type of devil voodoo magic you put on my mother, but you better fix it right now. I declared as I pointed a finger at Kiba. Relax, Issei. No magic was cast, he said. I promise. Then what the funk was that? I can be very persuasive from time to time. He said this as he went upstairs with Kaneko. Guys, you can't just come in and act like you live here. I said. Whatever happened to common decency? I feel like they are committing a home invasion and my mother just gave them the keys. Moments went by and we were all in my room, chilling, I guess. Kiba is just reading a book and Kaneko was sniffing through my stuff. Kaneko, is it really necessary to be going through my things? I asked. You really don't have much. She answered while wearing a pair of my shorts on her head. Does the term privacy mean anything to you? We are just looking out for you, man, Kiba said. Just relax. I swear you like to throw that word around me like it's nothing, don't you? Yo-yo. Kaneko said as she started playing with my yo-yo. Does that mean that you can also go through my stuff whenever you want? I looked at Kaneko as she continued to play with a yo-yo that she found and began to act like some kind of curious house cat. I'm hungry. Kaneko said it plainly. Dinner will be ready soon, and when are you not hungry? I commented as I laid back onto my bed, trying to take all of this in. There is no need to be uptight, Issei, Kiba said. We are only keeping you safe. Oh, whatever, I said and grabbed a remote. Let's see if there is anything interesting. I turned on my TV and started surfing through channels, stopping at a few. Just like always, there is nothing really on. Dinner finally came around and mom cooked up almost a feast. Kaneko just started digging in as if she hadn't eaten anything for a very long time, which I obviously knew wasn't true. I feel like she could eat the entire house and still not be satisfied. I wonder how she can eat like that and not gain any weight. Maybe it's because she's a devil and is able to eat anything without gaining an ounce. Lucky girl. I haven't cooked such a big meal in a long time. I hope you guys enjoy the food. Mom said. Thank you Mrs. Haidu. This all looks really good. Kiba complimented. Please enjoy yourselves. I have some work to do in my room. Mom departed with a plate of food upstairs to her room while everybody was still eating at the dining room table. I don't remember the last time that I saw a smile on my mom's face. I mean, I've seen her smile only for my sake after my dad died, but I haven't seen her so lit up like that before in a long time. So, I ran into this nun yesterday and she says that she was assigned to the church here in this town. I said. That doesn't seem possible, Kiba said. What do you mean? This is devil territory and there are no signs of church activities in this area, so how could she be assigned here? Kaneko asked. Not only that, but she has an artifact just like me that is able to perform healing. Kaneko and Kiba looked at each other and then looked back at me and I asked, there is something wrong, isn't it? There are only 2 churches here that I know of. Kiba replied, the People of Christ Baptist Church is on the outskirts of Kao, which is not in our jurisdiction. Oh, and the other? The other is an abandoned church here in this town, which is the closest church that there is. Did you catch her name? Kaneko asked. Yeah, her name is Asia Argent. She told me that she used to be a nun in Vatican City. Then something doesn't add up. We should probably report this to Riaz. Wait, don't tell me that Heaven is most likely involved in this as well. It's not likely that Heaven is involved in this, but I also told you that there have been a lot of fallen angel activities lately. What about Asia? She's a sweet nun. She couldn't be involved in this, can't she? She may be doing it involuntarily. She could be an ex-nun who ended up working with the fallen. That abandoned church might be the fallen angels' hideout. We don't know how many there are here, and that's why we need to report to Riaz, Kaneko added. That doesn't sound good. Asia could be in trouble. I have to find her, but I don't know where this abandoned church is. If there are a bunch of fallen angels here, then I'm going to need some help. Maybe Riaz can help. I decided to go on a little night walk to clear my mind. And guess who is tagging along? Yep, Kiba and Kaneko. I couldn't even try to get away, even if I could. Hey, can we stop here for a moment? Kaneko asked. For what reason? I asked. My client is nearby, and I would like to get a contract finished if I can. Kaneko replied. Client? Contract? I pondered. Contracting is a job to service clients here on Earth by hiring us to fulfill their personal desires. Devils gain various benefits from forming contracts with humans. These benefits can include increased power, boosted abilities, and access to material and knowledge. By performing contracts with humans, we can also gain experience and grow stronger in terms of our capabilities and influence. This process often involves the exchange of something valuable from both parties, such as the human's soul or a significant commitment, in return for our assistance and empowerment. Kiba explained. So basically, they are selling their souls in trade to get what they want. Yes, but we don't accept soul trades anymore, just valuables that they show significance to. How long will this take? Depending on the customer. Oh, brother. I sighed as I took a seat at a nearby street bench. As we were waiting for Kaneko to finish up with her client, me and Kiba heard a loud bang coming from a complex nearby. What the hell was that? I got up from the bench and went to the nearby complex to investigate the noise. Where are you going? Kiba asked. Did you not hear the loud noise coming from the complex nearby? I'm going to check it out. I said, and Kiba tagged along. I went up to the door to the house complex where the noise came from and knocked on it. Hello? Anybody okay there? I realized that the door wasn't closed all the way and decided to enter the place. It was dark and it smelled pretty bad. I can only see a door with lighting underneath. Issei, wait. Kiba put his hand on my shoulder to stop my advancement and I looked at him. What's wrong? I asked. Something doesn't feel right. Get behind me. He commanded, and I went to stand behind him as he put his hand on the doorknob to the room with the light coming out from underneath. We opened up the door and saw a couple of candles lit, and we saw a body on the ground with a puddle of blood coming out. What the funk? I cursed. What happened here? Kiba asked. Well, look who it is. A light gray-haired man comes from around a corner to present himself to us. A blonde devil and his sidekick. Who the funk are you? I spat. The name is Fried Selzen, and I come here to chop you up. He threatens with a crazed facial expression. Kiba spawns out his sword and holds it up. You won't be doing anything tonight. I remembered that last time Kiba used his sword. He was fighting Rainer with Kaneko by his side to protect me, but got hurt in the process. I decided to spawn in my howling gauntlet and get into a fighting stance. My gauntlet may be in a premature state, but I can't let Kiba do this alone after he took a spear from me last time. And what the funk are you? You're not a devil. Oh well, I'm still going to have fun cutting you both up. Fried pulled out a handgun and a light-based sword from his coat. Issei, stay behind me. Kiba exclaimed. No. You took a spear for my sake, and the least I could do is fight alongside you. I countered. Let the games begin. Fried comes charging at us, starting a full-on engagement. Kiba was meeting his movements at the exact pace that Fried was, as I was using my premature gauntlet and striking at any opening that Fried left. I have never been in a life or death kind of fight, knowing that I will probably be killed, but like I said, Kiba took a spear for me, and I will not let him fight by himself. Damn, you sure are fast. Fried commented as he was parrying with Kiba, sword to sword. I also engaged him by making strikes at him with my sacred gear. Such a nice tag team you guys are. Fried was too fast. He was blocking Kiba's attacks and was blocking my attacks as well. I don't know how I was able to keep up. I usually don't get into fights. So all I can do is punch and kick at this point. You got to do better than that, pretty boy. Fried performed a sweep kick on Kiba and he fell to the ground. I jumped at him, colliding with my gauntlet fist at his left cheek, causing him to hit the ground. Ow, what a cheap shot. Funker. I insulted him as I was swinging my gauntlet at him, only for him to block it with his sword. You got good determination, boy. Fried said as he pulled his handgun and fired at my right leg. But I will always have an ace up my sleeve. Funk. I cursed as I got down to my right knee and gripped the wounded leg that he shot at. If you were a devil, it would hurt a lot. A holy man blessed these bullets. Fried said as he was licking the base of his handgun sadistically. Issei. Kiba cried out as he was attempting to go at Fried, but stopped when he saw Fried aiming his gun at me. No, no, blonde, another step and your precious sidekick will get a hole in his funking chest. He cackles. Issei. I heard a familiar voice coming from behind Fried. It was Asia. Asia? What are you doing here? I asked. I told you to finish putting up the barrier. Fried spat at Asia. Issei, what are you doing here? She cried. So, you know this, devil collaborator. Fried pointed at me. Asia, get out of here. Run. I yelled as I was attempting to get up. No, no, I didn't tell you that you could get up. Fried shoved me back on the floor with his foot. Finished the funking barrier. When Fried's head was facing Asia, I took the opportunity to jump off the floor and tackle Fried to the ground with all my strength, resulting in him letting go of his gun and sword. Run, Asia. I shouted as I was holding down Fried as he was punching and kicking me to get off. Kaneko finally made her appearance by kicking a door down into this room. Fallen angels are coming. We got to bounce. Issei, let's go. Kiba commanded. I can't leave Asia. I countered his command. It's alright, Issei. I'll see you soon. Asia said it with a smile on her face. Kaneko grabs me and puts me over her shoulders. Put me down. We got to save her. Farewell. Asia. I cried as Kiba and Kaneko, with me over their shoulders, fled the site before the fallen angels arrived. After an hour since the fight with that crazed Fried, we went to the occult research club where Riaz and Akeno were present. Kiba and Kaneko informed her about the incident and also reported about Asia being another sacred gear user that has the ability to perform healing. Does it still hurt? Riaz asked as she was finishing up healing me. A little bit, but not as much as it was a little bit ago. I answered. It takes some time to recover and the pain will go away soon. You should take it easy from this point on, Issei. Akeno suggested. I need to help Asia. She can be in deep trouble. I have to save her. I exclaimed. Akeno is right, Issei. You and your sacred gear are still not strong enough to fight on your own. Riaz agreed. I can't just leave her with those fallen pricks. I argued. Unfortunately, there is nothing that we can do about it now. With fallen angels increasing lately, it's all hands on deck from here on out with us. Not enough for a rescue operation. I'm sorry. Riaz apologized. What was Asia doing there in the first place? And who was that Selzen prick? I asked myself. He's a stray exorcist who is doing work for the fallen angels, Kaneko answered. What do you mean by stray? I asked again. A ton of stray exorcists like Fried Selzen got booted from the church for exhibiting irrational and unparalleled violent behavior, and for that, they lacked options and lowered themselves to be servants of fallen angels. Kiba explained. And Asia might be one of them? I assumed, and Kiba silently gave me a nod and lowered his head. We are not saying anything. We are just stating the facts that Asia just happens to be a servant to them. Riaz said. It doesn't seem right. She's a healer and a gentle soul. There is no way. I exclaimed. I'm sorry, Issei. Whether it's involuntarily or not, she is a servant of the fallen angel. Akeno apologized. What the funk? I quietly cursed. And? So how was this story? I hope you like it. And if you like it, share this story with your friends and like the video too. And don't forget to subscribe our channel for daily awesome fanfiction. Okay, it's time for me to go. Bye bye.